Howdy folks, howdy race fans. It's time once again for the little show about racing I like to call In the Pits. And as ever, In the Pits with me, StockCar Scott, is brought to your little screen by Monte Carlo Express Delivery. Monte Carlo Express Delivery, serving the courier needs of the Puget Sound area for over a decade. The racing weekend started early with Formula One on Thursday night, with Friday morning practice in China for the Grand Prix run there on Sunday that was shown there late Saturday night. Are you confused? Okay. You'll understand this part. Practice was dominated by Lewis Hamilton with his teammate Nico Rosberg and the resurgent Ferrari of Sebastian Vettel and Kimi Räikkönen in tow. I mean, that's kind of how practice went. So, Friday when I got up, I was feeling a bit indelicate, so I remained home. But in between privy trips, I planted myself on the couch to watch Sprint Cup practice, Xfinity qualifying, and Sprint Cup qualifying as I drifted in and out there. I came to about the time that Kurt Busch was earning another pole since his return there in that Stewart-Haas Racing Chevrolet. Kurt will win again in that Haas Automation number 41, and soon. I'm pretty sure of that. Then, Friday evening, came the Eric Jones coming out party. If you haven't heard of the young Byron, Michigan native before last Friday night, well, here he is, folks, for all the world. He's won a Camping World truck race last year in the Toad's equipment. He even beat the Toad. That's how he got the ride, was he beat the Toad at a prestigious late model race in Pensacola, Florida a few years ago called the Snowball Derby, of which he's won that, I do believe, twice. Friday, he bested some of Sprint Cup's biggest stars in Brad Keselowski and Dale Earnhardt Jr. in a race Xfinity race that he's not in that many, Junior isn't, and I enjoyed seeing him in a race. He finished third. Keselowski finished second. Eric, though, when he won, he did not collect drivers' points because he is a declared Camping World Truck Series driver this season, though he was only part-time last year when he won the race for the Toad there. Come Saturday afternoon before the Sprint Cup race, commentators were already putting Eric Jones in the M&M's number 18 Camry in May after David Reagan's contract is up there with Joe Gibbs. The Toad might not be the only one to get a big break from his Daytona Xfinity crash. Oh, put my drink a little bit too far away. Had to stop and get a little Sterling drink there. Anyway, the first driver of the Xfinity Series taking points at the race in Texas Friday night was the number 7 Reagan Smith in his Junior Motorsports Tax Slayer Camaro. He finished 4th. And then came Bubba Wallace in the number 6 Roush Advocare Mustang. He finished 6th. And Jeff Ritter, one of my Facebook friends that works out at Evergreen, was getting all sorts of lessons on who that new Roush Advocare Mustang driver is. Well, Jeff, that is Darrell Wallace Jr. from Mobile, Alabama. Yep. Anyway, so number 9, Chase Elliott, he finished 8th in his Napa Napa Auto Care Camaro of Junior Motorsports, and Chris Buescher was 9th. And the other Xfinity regular there in the top 10 was number 2, Brian Scott, no relation to StockCar Scott. He rounded out the top 10. Sprint Cup drivers there in the top 10 included Austin Dillon and Denny Hamlin in the top 10 there with Bad Brad and Junior. They had finishes of 5th and 7th there. Denny was running in the number 54 car that the Toad usually runs in. Let's see, the top 3 in points for the Xfinity Series remains the same, with the number 3 of Ty Dillon running for his pop there. Richard Childress is still first in the points because of his 12th place finish there at Texas. Second in points is still Chris Buescher in the number 60, and third in points is still Chase Elliott in the number 9 Junior Motorsports Napa Camaro. But 4th and 5th have changed places. This week, 4th place is that number 6 Roush Avocare Mustang, driven by Bubba Wallace from Mobile, Alabama. He's changed places. He was 5th last week. 5th this week is his teammate, number 16, Ryan Reed, in that number 16 Roush Mustang. As you remember, he won the Daytona race there for Xfinity. Okay, later that Friday night, there was a little more racing going on. There was the F1 qualifying there in Shanghai, and I hope you're not tired of Lewis Hamilton putting his Petronas Mercedes on the pole, because I certainly am not. His teammate, what's his name, Rosberg, got close, but that only put him ahead of 4-time champion Sebastian Vettel in his Ferrari. And then there was the rest of the field. But that's what F1 qualifying has been of late. Hamilton, then the rest of the field. Kimi Räikkönen was 6th in his Ferrari, separated from his teammate Vettel by the Williams Mercedes of Felipe Massa and Valtteri Bottas in 4th and 5th there. Oh, Saturday I got to sleep a little late and recoup some, because the first racing of the day was Sprint Cup at 4 o'clock in the evening. By then I had already read on Facebook that South Sound Speedway had decided to let the rain win for the evening. Evergreen, meanwhile, was hoping for a clear night, and Yakima Speedway was having qualifying and heat races under bright, clear skies. Almost sound like a weatherman there. Anyway, Saturday evening was Sprint Cup in Texas, with the better half of the Stewart-Haas Racing program on the front row, with the 41 of Kurt Busch on the pole and his teammate number 4, Kevin Harvick, defending champion, on the outside of the front row. Junior, on the other hand, didn't make it out of the first round of qualifying. Had a crappy starting position of 25th. But his teammates, Jeff Gordon, did a little bit better there, starting 12th. He got through second round. And Casey Kane and Jimmy Johnson did a lot better. They got to the last round of qualifying in 4th and 5th there on the grid. Vancouver, Washington's Greg Biffle qualified 19th, best of the still struggling Roush teams. The race was exciting, though, with Dale Earnhardt Jr. running well enough in the Nationwide Chevy to get up to the top 5 from mid-pack twice. Well, yeah, he had to do it twice because during the first pit stop, loose lug nets had to come back in, so he had to start mid-pack again. But slice and dice, made his way up there to the back up to the top 5, but unfortunately he never led any laps, but he ran very well all night. Jimmie Johnson, on the other hand, led the most laps at 128, but defending champion Happy Harvick led almost 100 laps himself, and that put him over the 700 laps led mark for the season so far. So he's looking pretty unstoppable, folks. Teammate Kurt Busch also led laps, as well as both Penske drivers, Bad Brad, Joker, they led for a couple of dozen laps themselves. Jeff Gordon led for a few laps, as well as Enumclaws Hendricks driver Casey Kane in his great clips. That's where I go get my haircut. Chevrolet also with a few laps led. Jamie McMurray and Paul Menard also led in their Chevys. It was Jamie McMurray who led on the last restart, but was passed by Jimmie Johnson, who had come back after some really ill-timed adjustments, had put him back mid-pack during mid-race. Dale Jr. and Happy Harvick, as well as the Penske teammates of Joker and Bad Brad, rounded out the top 5, despite Joker being on the wrong end of an unhappy Harvick punt for blocking him near the end of the race. So Jimmie Johnson gets win number 72, putting the 6-time champion only 5 wins away from passing Dale Earnhardt on the all-time win list. I know some folks don't like to hear about that, but it could happen sooner than later, folks. Also, it was his second win of the season, tying him with Happy Harvick and keeping others from winning their way into the chase that weekend. So remember, you only have to have 1 win so far to get into the chase, but if you have 2, you've kept somebody else from getting a win. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is still well alive in the top 10 with his hard-fought third place finish, being beat out by Harvick by just a bumper there at the finish line. It was a great race, folks. It was a really, really good race. During the end of it, though, my attention was a little bit diverted there because I started watching a little bit of the Evergreen speedboat races on Fans Choice TV. To say it was wet would be an understatement. The rain could be seen clearly at times on the video feed, coming down pretty hard, but the racing went on at Evergreen. Number 24, Trenton Moriarty, won his second Foster Press Mini Stocks feature of the season, followed by number 10, Matt Stone, and Brad Thomas in his number 5. Number 41, Scott Burby, ran well early but faded to 4th, but was still on the lead lap. The other 3 cars of the 7-car field had their problems. None of them finished on the lead lap. There was looked like a full field. I think I had 19 or so, I think the rundown said, of Hornets. But that made it kind of difficult to keep up with who was who running there with all the action that was going on. But from what I was hearing on the Camera One video feed, a couple of the Hubbards did real well there in that downpour. Maybe they had water wings or something, or special tires, who knows. Funny thing, there were more Hornets finishing on the lead lap than there even started with the mini stocks, with the Foster Press mini stocks. So they had the big car count feature for the evening. There were a couple of figure 8 races that didn't distract me from the Cup race at Texas. They also ran out in the rain. And then the evening wound down with a 30-lap street stock feature won by returning driver Jim Feta. I hope I said that right, in his number 85, followed by the 06 of Steve Petachik and Randall Buehling in the number 14. Facebook friend of mine there, Chad Fitzpatrick, whose name I can say correctly, finished 4th in his number 12. Go number 12. That's a good looking orange car, I tell you. Later, the last race of the evening, or maybe the first race of Sunday, depending on where you were watching it, was broadcast from China on NBC Sports Network. The Formula One Grand Prix of Shanghai was all Lewis Hamilton. Starting from the pole, he seemed to be able to do no wrong. He was joined again this weekend on the podium by teammate what's-his-name in second, and Ferrari's 4-time champion. Of course, he's won his 4 championships with somebody else, not Ferrari. But anyway, Ferrari's Sebastian Vettel in third, and the other Ferrari driver, former world champion Kimi Räikkönen, the Flying Finn, was 4th, followed by Williams Mercedes drivers Felipe Massa and Bottas there in 5th and 6th respectively. And constructors' points for F1, Mercedes is way ahead, followed by the resurgent Ferrari. The next F1 race is early Sunday morning in Bahrain this coming weekend before the Bristol race. It's Bristol, baby, it's Bristol, excuse me. And who won last year's race there in the Kingdom of Bahrain? Yes, F1's reigning Prince of Speed, 2-time and current world champion, Lewis Hamilton. So I'm looking forward to that. I have to get up early. This Sunday I got up long enough to talk myself out of going to the Apple Cup because I thought it might be bad crossing the pass, not only coming to the Apple Cup, but going back after the race. So I just talked myself out of it, and I regretted that decision as I slept through the IRL wreck fest in the rain there in Louisiana. James Hinchcliffe, the mayor of Hinchtown, was declared winner after the last crash set off by Ryan Hunter-Ray there just ended the race. But there were lots of wrecks, lots of caution, lots of rain, lots of puddles. It just was difficult to watch. It was a disappointing debut event for the newly opened New Orleans, Louisiana race park. That's the NOLA, N-O-L-A, New Orleans, Louisiana race park. And they had lots of commercials for having company meetings and everything down there. It looks like a fun place, just kind of a tough place to race in the rain. Later, I regretted my choice of race non-attendance as I read about the victories of Zach Washington of Yakima in the 80-lap West Coast Street Stocks event, and Shelby Thompson of Spokane in the 200-lap Apple Cup, which kind of owed him one after running out of gas last year on the last lap. You know, I've always liked Shelby Thompson ever since reading about him dumping the toad a few years ago at a race at the Las Vegas Bull Ring. Oh, I like that. Anyway, young Parker Stevens of Tumwater finished 5th in his very first Apple Cup start. And oh yeah, number 20, X, Andy Soul finished 11th. And I mention this because Andy Soul likes it when he gets a mention. Give Sterling a mention. Mountain Dew. Anyway, this coming weekend, the weather looks good for Evergreen Speedway and their Frontier Communications Family Night at the races. Super late models will run a 75-lap main on their 3/8 mile track. The night's card will also include features by the Pro 4 trucks. They're always fun. The street stocks, it'll be good to see Chad in action again. in the dry. The Hornets, hopefully they'll have another big turnout, and a figure 8 race is thrown in there for good measure. And that's where I hope to be. Hope to see some of y'all race fans this weekend there at Evergreen. I want to be there to capture more of the excitement of local racing on video to share with y'all folks, race fans there on my YouTube channel. So this weekend, get on out there. Take your kids. 10 and under get in free because it's family night at the races. And all other tickets, Frontier is cutting a deal where they're only $10 a piece. So you haven't got a reason not to go. You might as well go see you some good racing. And another good thing is it doesn't conflict with the NASCAR racing on TV this weekend at all. This Saturday, the Infinity race is on early Saturday morning, and I wouldn't want to miss that because it's Bristol, baby, and I love watching Bristol. Hopefully they'll have some good racing. This Bristol, they always have good racing. Sunday is Sprint Cup at Bristol again, also early in the morning, but no problem. I'll already be up watching Bahrain. I'll be ready for Bristol, baby, because Junior's got to win there, so hey, there you go. It's Bristol. We'll mention one more thing before I close, and that's tomorrow night on NBC Sportsnet. They're having the K&N West Pro West race from this past weekend at Irwindale, and you folks need to tune in and watch it if you can, because history's made in the West Series there. Young Nicole Bayer from Spokane, from the east side there, ran better than any female has ever run in the K&N West Series at second. And that ties her with Kinsey Rustin back in the East, K&N East Series, for best female finish ever. So it looks to be a really good race. I heard some great things about it from Sherry Garber, and I'm looking forward to watching it tomorrow, and I think everybody should too. Mainly because there may not be that many races to watch from Irwindale. Those developers want to turn it into another strip mall or shopping center or something, because their greedy little eyes see more dollars in retail than they see in racing. So we may lose another great track here. I keep reading scary stuff about Irwindale, so be sure to watch it tomorrow night, I think at 9:30 on NBC Sportsnet, and I'm pretty sure they play it again during the weekend after a Wheeling modified race. So be sure to catch that. So again, as always, thanks for watching. It's been fun. It's fun watching this little YouTube show grow, and I hope people are enjoying it. I hope everybody finds a little enjoyment in my little show. Hopefully next show we'll have some more local racing to it. I really plan to get out and see some, but until then, I'll see you at the track, folks, because I'm StockCar Scott here in the pits. Thanks for watching, folks.